So, and I see one glaring omission here. On the Chevelle over there, it says owned by Dennis Collins. And I had owned this car, and I don't see my name on there, so I'm not sure what's going on.
I didn't notice that. Did you notice that, Zach?
Look at that over there.
Let me see. Well, we're heading into the part 2 of the Wayne Schmeeckle muscle car collection. If you haven't seen the four-wheel drive collection that we filmed prior to that, you really need to see that. And I hope you enjoyed the first part of his muscle car collection. Truly is incredible. Now for this week's sponsor. So I've had the Raycon earbuds for going on a year now. Love to use these on my daily walk. Love their ergonomic design, ease of install. Why are we showing these this week? It's Black Friday. This Black Friday, you're going to get an additional 30% off. 3 of my favorite things about these earbuds, well, actually many. I love the ergonomic design of the case. I love the ergonomic design of the earbuds themselves. The latest, greatest ones that are out right now have got a 32-hour battery life. And if you forget to charge them, just pull it right out, put it back in the case, they charge in the case, and in 10 minutes, you get 90 minutes of charge time. My favorite thing, the noise cancellation. It's active noise cancellation. I use it often. Just tap it, boom. Active noise cancellation, you gotta love it. And they come with a 30-day happiness guarantee. It's time to save big for Black Friday. Go to buyraycon.com/coffeewalk today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/coffeewalk. I think I've seen that.
It is. I mean, what's
I've seen that in the magazine.
So this is a 2004 GTO, but when you think about that, in 2000, the early 2000s, we didn't have Challengers yet. We didn't have the Mustang yet. So everybody's looking at, hey, how can we get a sports car going again? So this was actually a concept car that Hot Rod Magazine sponsored it, Aloha, which is now actually the son is Andrew White with Apex, but before that was Tommy White. Their team came up with this where they took a 2004 GTO, put Chevelle sheet metal on it. You see the backside of it here? So they made it look like this could be a 2004, 2005 Chevelle. And then they put a Roberts Racing engine in it. And they wanted to get 50 of these built, and they just never got it off the ground, and this is the only one. So it's just called an HRSS 454.
So it's got a 454 in it.
Yeah, but from Robertson Racing.
With six speed in it.
Yeah. So it's a screamer. I mean, it's one of the fastest, one of the fastest cars we had back in the day, and now that's not really that well respected as far as horsepower. I mean, it's amazing what they've done in the last, what I guess,
the government,
almost
the government
20 years.
forced the engineers into that.
Yeah,
they just keep making it better and better.
Yeah.
That was, even the 04 GTO though was a really cool platform when it came out.
Yeah. So then right after this, they came out with the Mustang, and then the Challenger came out. You know, and then here we are. We were off in back in the. Then eventually the new Camaros came out. The car up on the lift is actually Berger. It's got a really low mileage car. It was actually a race car. Ben Wenzel, which is still around, he raced that. He campaigned that back in the day. The paperwork's over there by Sean, it being a copo and just so original, we did restore it, but we didn't have to do anything to the interior. It's actually, that's another story there, but the paperwork's on the left there in the book. That was an article we had. Wow. So, you know, look, you know, some of that paperwork there too.
So it has 100 street miles on it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, wow.
And an M22.
Yeah, well, it's a copo, so it's, you know, has the
So did all the M22s have the twin disc clutch and the special flywheels?
No.
Or just the big block cars?
Well, I don't think this wouldn't have that.
Okay.
I think it's an option, but a normal Copo or a Yenko would have an 11-inch, clutch and pressure plate.
But an M22 is quite rare.
A
lot of times
people,
a lot of people say they have that, but they don't.
They typically don't.
Have an M21.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, one of the telltale things is the drain plug. They'll always have that.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, most cars didn't have a rock crusher.
Love this right here on the invoice. High performance unit.
So if you go out onto the internet and look for Ben Wenzel, you can find a picture of this car at Indy in '69.
Yeah. And what was cool when we talked to him about it, he had, I think, 3 or 4 to choose from, and this was the cheapest one.
Oh.
It had the least amount of accessories
It had
doesn't
almost
have
no
much,
options.
yeah. So it was, what's the dollar amount? 3,300?
33, 35, 54.
It's amazing.
So the other ones had just a little bit more accessories, because I asked him, why did you pick this one? And he said, well, it's the cheapest one they had.
I guess as a Copo, and they didn't charge for these few accessories.
That's neat to know that history, because a lot of times you're like, well, did you pick gold or did
Yeah.
you, why did
Well,
you? Yeah.
right away he put red on it. I mean, his actually color is red that he likes,
Yeah.
and so he kept just a little bit of gold, and then he put big panels of red over it.
So this gentleman kept this car till he was 62 years old.
What was cool about this car too, what's cool about this one is it didn't have its original engine in it, and then it's got a unique serial number. It's pretty easy to remember. What was it? 0036. And so we got later on, even before the internet, I mean, we got to talking to some different groups, and the guy said, well, I have 0036 engine. Ben told us he took the engine out right away because he had a race engine to put in it.
He had a built-up
He
engine.
took the engine out, set it to the side, and then so we got it back in when we restored it.
That's right. So that was,
Did you find the motor in Michigan? Or did you have to go to Connecticut to
do
get
you
it?
remember where you got it?
I don't know where it came
I know
from.
the price, you outlasted the guy because he had a really high price on it, and it came all the way down to a reasonable price. And so we only bought the short block or the block.
Yeah.
And that was the first work I ever did for you, was to put the original engine back in this car.
Okay, I don't remember that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Good grief, Alex.
I don't know if anybody did a good a job as Hurst did, as all the accessories they had. I mean, it's just crazy. You go down everything that they offered between the wheels. Then they did so many projects too. Like, tell them a story, Gary, about the silver cars there. Then what Hurst did that work for General Motors.
Yeah, so the Hurst Olds, pretty famous story, right? So they put a 455 in a car that would, GM had a ban of above 400 cubic inches on a GM intermediate. So actually, not the story that a lot of people know is that George Hurst wanted to put a 428 in a Firebird. That was the original idea. And because Oldsmobile was still kind of sore over not getting an F-body, which they really wanted the Firebird car to be theirs, Pontiac got it. So when they came to GM, they said, well, you can do that, that's a cool idea, but you're gonna use an Oldsmobile. So then those guys came together, and that turned out to be a really cool thing, and there's a lot of good history. So that's where they made 500 of these cars in '68 roughly, and then 900 and some in '69, and then the rest is history, right? Everyone knows about the Hurst Olds and Linda Vaughn and the girls and those big giant Hurst shifters and all that stuff is.
I think their marketing was
Awesome.
genius.
Oh, great.
It really
look
was.
at that pictures right there. That's just amazing. This is actually the prototype right here of the how they're going to do her mock-up. And then later on, they made that, and you ordered that out of the catalog for, was it $1?
I think that's right. Yeah.
And those things trade for in the thousands now, as far as those cardboard mock-ups. But a lot of this stuff came from different employees that worked at Hurst, and then a collector had it, and then life happened, divorce happened, and then we put together a couple people's collections, but had all the patches, had all the clothing.
Hurst wheel. It was one of my favorite wheels.
But talk about some cool things that you could put on your
Hurst
Cufflinks,
wheels,
yeah.
cufflinks.
cufflinks, yeah. Then like, look at this, is that made out of styrofoam. This was at their company picnic. For that to last is pretty wild.
Agreed.
Then you had the, this was on, at the parts store, you actually would have the Christmas tree. And so it looks, we have another one back here just still new in the box. But they were, Hurst wanted to have as much stuff as they could get on the table where you came in to buy your parts. I mean, that's what they were all about. And then they got over into the shifter balls.
That is incredible. I've never seen that many different colors.
All that stuff is just crazy, what they all had available for them.
Do you have the fuzzy one? The black fuzzy one?
There's that, that's actually, yeah, those are fuzzy right there. Neat story too, so originally when you bought the wheels, they all put them in a can like this. You know, later on, they got to figuring out, well, that's too expensive, and so then almost in front of Heather, then they have the cardboard ones.
Never heard of that.
But that's, yeah, they all got shipped out, so you'd have 2 rims.
How cool is that? That's so cool.
And that's how you'd ship the rims out and keep them from getting damaged.
Never seen one. You have 3 of them.
There's more than that.
Okay. Wayne is cornering the market.
So if you see one of those ever, don't pass it up.
Okay.
I mean, it's worth its weight in gold. Then later on, this is how they decided to do it. Well, we'll just put it in a cardboard box and ship a single versus having 2 in there with the lug nuts.
Again, their branding is just
genius. It's crazy.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite brands of the day, and that and STP.
Yeah,
And they're both
STP did a
so
great job.
simple.
Yeah. They did all the marketing, and so this was all some of their artwork from back in the day.
Grief.
You look at some of these other ones, I mean, it's been a while, so.
You must not ever sleep, Wayne.
I haven't even looked at some of this stuff in 5 years. Yeah, there's some of their,
Just all through the years, there's like 62 and 3 and 4
Christmas.
when they really started.
Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, that's still.
so here's some of the ones, like they're getting ready to go to a show, and so somebody had to mock up, hey, what is our booth gonna look like? And, you know, that's
those are
pretty cool.
I've never seen that sticker. That's awesome.
It may have never seen the light of day. I mean, you don't know.
Oh, yeah, maybe just a concept.
Yeah.
Never seen those either.
Then the filing cabinets are even go a little bit deeper with all the little stuff.
And who said marketing and branding wasn't important?
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, that was all about it. You only had a certain amount of time to get that person's attention. Speaking of the parts store, over there the shifters they had, like you'd go into the parts store and you wanted to get the guy to yank on the shifter to figure out what kind, which one he wanted to buy. So you had the different styles, and then you had the handouts, brochures that came right there with it.
Wow.
I don't have that anymore.
No, it's all on the internet. You
You don't get to touch it.
not till it gets there. That is an amazing collection of Hurst stuff. Wow. Well, we veered off. Let's go back to the Chevrolets.
So this is Hurst also, if you want to
Yeah, that's
start.
right.
Yep.
Yep. Hurst.
So Hurst made, they said always 50 of these, but 53 of them built is what we have on the information right there.
That was the minimum requirement for it.
Was 50, I think, yeah.
These cars actually wheelied harder back then than the guys are wheeling now.
Huh.
So yeah, this is, you know, a 12.5 to 1 compression, right?
This actually, you have to take the whole fluid off.
Oh, that's right. It's a
Yep.
lift-off hood.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's.
Yep.
It's kind of worth it.
Wow.
Yep, cross-ram 2.4s, incredible motors. These were full-blown race cars.
And they're all white, you know, then Hurst would put the color code on them. But, you know, most of these are in pretty tough shape, so we're pretty happy to get this one.
Yeah, this is one of the better ones.
It's gonna be 2 at McCacken this year.
Oh, really? Finger pincher.
Not this time.
So Hurst, go clear back, I mean, why we're talking about Hurst, even that one up there, that's a 2004. They made a black one and a white one. We have the white one that Hurst made for Chrysler, and they were going to try to market that. And then they, at the time, Chrysler was having some financial problems, and so they never really got those out. So that was the Chrysler 300 in 2004 that Hurst did.
I think it would have worked. They sure sold a ton of the Chrysler 300s.
Yeah.
Yeah, timing thing, right?
Yep.
Yep.
You know the story on this one then?
Yep, so this is called a fast track Nova, and along with the Yenko Novas, there were the Dick Harrell Novas. There were actually quite a lot of dealerships in '69.
Gibbs.
Yeah, Fred Gibbs.
Fred Gibbs.
Yep, there was probably a half a dozen or better that you almost never heard of, and this would be one of them. So this is a paperwork L88 converted '69 Nova, and it has 1,500 miles on it.
Oh my God. So this was one of the small Chevrolet high-performance dealers.
Yep, they were out of New York. They started in the 60s, 67 I think rather, and they did that for just a handful of years.
Wasn't this like a really small dealership?
It was a small dealership, yeah.
And the dad kind of built these, and then the kids started building them.
I think that's the one.
It was like
yeah.
100 cars a year is all they sold.
Yep.
It's crazy.
But they were into ultra high performance.
I had never heard of this until I started researching Scudsio, because I didn't know about that. I should have. But these are even rarer, I think, than.
Oh yeah, no, this is. I don't know if there's another fast track Nova. I'm not sure. I do know though that it being a Nova,
I've never even seen this.
paint
anywhere.
gauge in this car. This has next to no paint on it. 1.5 mils maybe. Yeah, it's really sparse.
1,500 miles, quarter mile at a time. So this is an extremely
Hard miles.
small Chevrolet high-performance dealer that built these cars. Nothing like Gibbs or Dickie Harrell. That's a great car. Wow. Well, that's a priceless piece of muscle car history that you didn't have to restore.
So we, this was pretty fun. Wayne probably wouldn't even remember, but the guy that had this car was getting into Broncos, which of course, you know, Wayne's got a lot of Baja Broncos. So we had an extra 73, and it had a like a roller cam motor 302 from the 80s or something like that in it. And then we had Wayne had a 26-mile love truck. And it had a dealership sign in the back. It was pretty cool, but you didn't have a lot of money in it. And so
It wasn't four-wheel drive and it was long blade,
Yeah,
you know, but I mean, it was cool.
It was amazing, yeah. It was,
Was
a
it
brand
yellow?
new piece.
It was.
Yeah, yellow.
I used to own that.
Did you?
How funny.
I mean, it is interesting.
I stirred that one up.
That one, I had a guy talk to me a week ago asking me about that.
Is that right?
Yeah, wanting to know where it was.
Well, we traded those two cars, the Bronco and that Love, for this.
Did you find the love at McCacken, or where'd you find it?
No, I got it
came
from-
to you, yeah. Someone called.
Just the guy who owned it.
So I sold it, and I'm not going to mention his name, to one of the top NCRS guys. And he called me and goes, is this true that it has, I think it had 17 miles on it, maybe when I had, or 19, I don't remember. I said, I'm telling you, it is as new as you're ever going to find in a truck like this. He goes, all I want is something that I can take that nothing's been monkeyed with, you know, to try to get as close to 1,000 points. I said, I think it's that truck. I mean, I don't know everything about Loves, but yes, I mean, the guy drove it home and died. It was driven, it was driven one time.
Yeah.
And so he came down and looked at it, crawled around, and he goes, man, I just got to have this. I said, why are you really, buddy? He goes, just kind of messing with my buddies. You know, to get to something to that level, that condition,
And
well, you know
that's
if you owned it.
same way with Tony. I mean, he just
Yeah.
thought it'd be cool for a while.
So I dry ice blasted it, I think, for Tony then.
But then it went to McCacken. I mean, I'm not McCacken.
Yeah,
Meekum. It went to Meekum.
I didn't do any of that when I had it.
I went to Meekum, then it sold, and then I lost contact of it.
I think Charlie ended up with it at one time.
What's that for a small world? I got pictures of it in the garage.
I do too.
It is a small world. Pretty amazing, but
But you could never restore something like that truck. I mean,
if you
you'd
did,
never
you-
find the NOS
oh
parts.
my gosh.
Yeah.
If you did find them, they'd be close to free.
This is amazing.
Right.
That
Bench
hood is so
column.
light too. I
Glass
guess it's
hood.
for the fiberglass
Yeah.
weight.
Well, Harold did the Stinger hoods, right? Was it Dickie Harold that did that?
Yeah, I think so.
And Gibbs brought them in. They didn't have these.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I love these other dealerships, you know, that, I mean, they were doing the same thing, except Yenko would only put an L72, which was a big deal for a car at that time. This is 100 horsepower more than an L72. An L88 is a lot more motor than an L72.
Oh, without
425 horse, 427. This is probably 560 horsepower.
It's a monster.
Yeah.
Next car is another car that Gary found.
So this car was bought new right here, and it was in Golden, Colorado, and the guy bought it for his wife, a friend of mine, Jack Stroh, And this guy is the fussiest guy. She liked, and he ordered her a fastback Mustang. And he told him don't dealer prep it, don't do anything to it, I'll do all that myself. And they called him up, they said, your car's in. And it was all dealer prepped, and they did all kinds of crazy stuff. He got mad and said, I'm not taking it, I didn't want this. Went right down and ordered this Firebird. And up until he retired, which probably would have been in the 2000s, this car had never left Golden, Colorado. So then when he retired, he started driving it locally to some car shows and stuff like that, and they racked up 18,000 miles. But it's a 455 Formula, 200 and something, I think, produced. It's an incredible car. It's a legend status survivor, at the McCacken show.
Stripes are really unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting color. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not really bright orange.
incredible.
It's kind of odd orange. Yeah.
So we're doing a Formula Super Duty right now that we'll have out at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals, and I came out ahead of you guys here and took a few pictures just to verify some routing of some hoses, and there's a really rare vacuum switch under there, and I wasn't sure if that switch was a Super Duty or not a Super Duty. And then a lot of guys have a chrome wing nut there, and this is just a bare steel one. So there's just a car like this gives endless amounts of details for when you're restoring a car. So this is just an awesome example. Yep,
Incredible.
another local Colorado car. So.
The next one is a Yenko car, but most of the cars were the big block cars, but this is actually just a Yenko Z28. Makes it kind of odd. It's a 68 Yenko Z28, restored by Supercar Workshop, Brian Henderson, that we actually had it restored. He helped us find it, he restored it, and then we actually introduced it to the McCacken show a few years ago. But I had never seen a Z28 Yenko before this one came along. Most of them were going to have the 427 engine in them versus just the 302. Teal color, it's pretty cool also.
Kind of the neat thing about 68 GM cars, the whole year had, in many cases, a one-year only color. So they may have had a similar color to this in 67 or 69, but it probably wasn't this color. So there was a specific reason why, but for some reason the 68s across the board are unique in their colors.
Is this like a one-of-one car?
Well,
it's got the steering wheel, it's got deluxe interior, it's got...
Yeah.
I mean, generally, didn't they just start with base cars usually?
Well, I mean, Wayne used to have a Yenko Corvette as well, a 69 427 car, and so technically every car they sold today would be a Yenko something, right? So this was just a Z28 that they sold through their dealership. But because it was such a cool performance dealership, they would help people, I think in a lot of cases, make it really neat with the gauges. And of course they could offer the wheels and the tack and all that stuff because they were set up for that. So it wasn't an engine conversion or anything like that.
Right.
But it's just an extra cool.
Yeah, a 302 motor, great.
Oh, awesome.
Now the next car, you guys could probably tell me more than I know about since I got it from you.
There it is.
Thank you. It's pretty special. This is the car that we are taking to McCacken in Chicago, in a couple weeks, Gary?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yeah. I guess we better get it loaded up one of these days, huh?
Yeah.
That in itself makes me extremely happy and honored that you guys are taking that car.
I do remember this buy now, because he had the holes cut in the air intake, right?
Yeah, we kept those. We'll show that to you in the trunk.
Oh, and the little seat cushion and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
So this car had crazy paperwork like Wayne likes. Every oil.
So there's the air cleaner that had the holes cut in it. We went ahead and found another one, but we wanted to keep that one because that's part of the story.
Yeah, that's cool.
You've had so many amazing cars, and sometimes when I'm telling somebody about a car and they're quiet, he's either calling BS or he's like, I'm interested. Because I'm telling you on the phone, I was like, it has every oil filter.
Yeah.
And it's got every piece, and you're like, and you weren't saying a word. I'm like, man, he's either think I'm pulling his leg or I don't know.
Well, I can't play my hand. I mean, I didn't want to say I'll take it or you're going to raise your price, and so I had to say, I don't know if I want that or not.
Yeah. And by the way, I got a call coming. I got to go by.
This guy was, I mean, he was the guy you want to buy a car from.
Yeah.
He was in love with his car from day one, incredibly particular.
No, it's a cool story.
Incredible story.
Some pretty cool details there. I mean, that a lot of restoration guys love to see. I mean, look at the front of the wheel cover color coming through the gray primer. You know,
Oh, right here, the
each
overspray?
hole,
Yeah.
has that amount of overspray, and that
Well,
tire's
even
slick.
just the positioning, the jack and all that stuff in it when we first got it, and still having the plastic sleeve on it,
yeah.
which I can't even remember seeing that.
That's amazing. It really is truly a remarkable car. I mean, the markings on the tire and all that stuff is.
And the cool thing, the very few things that he changed, we got to interview him and he told us.
Yeah.
I mean, like the valve covers.
Yeah.
I would never change them back. I mean, the guy.
Did we change them?
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
So,
but we had.
but then
we
the-
know how that happened.
The stripe locations, some guys that live and die by these, they think the stripe location is
Yeah, clearly
incorrect.
they would have come farther down. What
What
we
you think?
I would love to question him a little bit more on that. In fact, it would have been fun to invite him to the show, because wasn't he in Indiana or something?
I think you should, because I'm gonna throw myself under the bus. I missed that.
Yeah.
I was so excited after looking at the car, I was gonna buy it anyways.
Oh, right.
I did not know this till after I sold it to Wayne. So a couple of people commented, man, you need to measure the stripes on the car. I hadn't shipped yet. I'm like, why would I need to do that? Here's what I think, but I don't know this, but I'll give you his phone number and y'all can find out.
Right.
I think the dealership did that and didn't tell him.
That's what we think.
Because this guy would have told me.
Yeah.
I think it showed up in the dealership's, crap.
Yeah.
We ordered it with stripes and there's stripes.
Yeah, he probably would have said, given the guy
The
that
guy was
benefit
a
of the doubt.
super straight shooter from everything we looked at.
So I knew a guy that owned an Olds dealership at this period of time, and he said about 1 in every 4 cars that came in on a truck transporter, they had to fix something on it, a piece of trim or a little ding or whatever. So for them to look at his paperwork and say, oh, we didn't get stripes on this car, and for them to do it, that's nothing. They do it all in one day.
I didn't study this after that was brought up, and I'm sure you guys have, and I'm curious. Because if it didn't have stripes, it would have said stripe delete, wouldn't it?
I don't think so in 72.
But like on the Shelby's, we just sold a 66 with no stripes, and so the section is blank. It wasn't checked.
It looks like he may have had like a little spring spacer in it, because it doesn't sit like that anymore, and it clearly, or it could have air shocks.
Air shocks back in the
Yeah.
day was real popular.
Yep.
So here's a car shipper invoice, which is unusual to see.
Oh, that's great stuff. Yep.
It doesn't say anything about no stripes.
So things really were different by 72. In 72, this was supposed to be the 73 Colonnade cars, but because of the couple of strikes they had, it was still this body style and not, but it got a lot of things like the seat belts in that were what a 73 car would have. But this car, being even a real SS 350 4-speed, this car has single exhaust. And that's pretty normal on 72s. You had to specifically, that was a separate option, and because this car has its original exhaust and muffler and everything.
Alex and I, whenever
Incredible.
we do get a 72 that was involved in the stripe, we always study it really, really heavy. And there's always odd stuff on them.
Oh, yeah.
Did you look at the air cleaner? I mean, we have the other one too, but I mean, that looks really original, but the other one, he had just drilled holes in it.
This is a really fun thing. I mean, these little clamps, they totally abandoned these square clamps. It took them a while, but boy, that took a lot of skin off. And then they
A lot of mechanics,
yes.
mechanics complaining about that.
Talk about a knuckle buster.
Yep.
Yeah.
They rounded them off later, but it's an incredible car. I've never seen this before. I'm not exactly sure what that's all about. Yep. But we left it.
Odd.
Yeah, but if this was a down on its knees field find car, it'd just be impossible to get this car back to this level.
Right.
And you probably wouldn't do it at being a 350, but I think this car, I can't remember in its own right, being a strikier car and being a 4-speed in the SS at 350 is still quite
Pretty low
rare.
production. Yeah.
It fit our program really good. I mean, being a survivor, being, had some nice eye appeal. When I seen your coffee walk, that's why I had to call.
Well, you were the first one that did. We appreciate that. No, we were very excited about this car. Did you guys polish it?
We probably just put a lot of number 7 Maguires on it with a foam pad. We try not to grind on them with a, compound and stuff like that, just because it is original paint. But you like to get the little bit of that product in there to oil up the paint again.
Agreed. Get a little bit of the emollients back in it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to touch it.
Right. Yeah, you let the.
I don't want to risk it.
Right.
2 more survivors next door. This next one's kind of neat. I mean, I call it a gentleman's muscle car. Being a Torino, had the big engine, 4-speed. This came from Bob Perkins also. I mean, anything that comes out of Bob's collection or a Colin Comer collection, you just know it's going to be right. And that's the reputation that we want to have also. If something that we've owned, we want everybody to know that it's a special car.
So this car's got 1,100 miles.
The backstory is the son had it of the dealership, and he knew his dad was going to sell it if they got over 1,000 miles, and so it only had around 900 miles on it. Then they parked it, and then since it's changed hands a few times, it's got a few more miles put on it. But
That's unbelievable.
Shoehorn in now.
And it's got AC.
Yeah, dealer added.
Oh, is it?
I think so, or is it in the dash all the way? Yeah, no, that's dealer accessory air conditioning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No wonder I hadn't seen that.
Because I don't know that.
It looks like something you'd see in an RV.
Yeah, because I don't think an R code would ever
I wouldn't
have
think
it.
so either.
Yeah, so.
They're still out there,
That
Alex.
makes it look
We
a
need to
little bit
find
like a
more.
sleeper without the trim rings on it. It
Yeah.
almost looks like.
That is amazing. Well, this has got to be special too. 6,400 miles.
So this one had it was the time capsule awarded as well here in Colorado. Very similar to the Mustang thing. The people had a new pickup truck and this S-code Cougar, and they lived on a busy street, and all the houses had fences, and they parked the truck in the driveway. So to drive the car, they had to move the truck like around the block and then get the car out. So they just didn't end up hardly ever driving this car. And and I see one glaring omission here. On the Chevelle over there, it says owned by Dennis Collins. And I had owned this car, and I don't see my name on there. So I'm not sure what's going on.
I didn't notice that. Did you notice that, Zach?
Look at that over there.
Let me see. I want to see that.
It's found by.
Look at that.
You're famous now.
Alex is.
Famous Herb.
That's cool, Wayne. Thank you. So not only is this a 6,400 mile original car, it's a 390 S-code.
394.
How cool is that?
Yep. I bought this from a lady here in Denver, and her and her husband were pretty good Ford car collectors. He passed away. I had to buy 3 Cougars. One was a wide-on-wide Eliminator, which I had both of those cars sold because this is really the only car I wanted. And I kept this maybe for like a year, took it to the muscle car thing and got the big award there, the time capsule award. And this was before I had dry ice blasting. And this, just like the other car, had just everything bare metal under it is just like brand new. Incredible. The welds look like they just welded them. But the 8,000 mile Mustang over there versus the 4,000 mile Cougar here, this being metallic, it just isn't quite as good as the solid red. It just didn't fade as well. You can or survive as well. You can see a few little marks on it. In that type of judging, that's not gonna be a deduction at all. But so this is a really cool example for me is, going about my world, there's nothing wrong with the Cougar. I just never thought about them or how neat they might be unless it was an Eliminator, a Boss 302. But having been around this car a lot, these are really neat cars. The taillight treatment and the grille and the dash, they're pretty cool. Made me kind of a fan.
I mean, it's a executive Mustang, if you will.
All
Yeah.
Mustang.
It's kind of like, I'm going to make the
Gentleman's
Camaro
car.
guys cringe really bad right now, and I love Camaros.
Yeah.
The Firebird is kind of the
Sure, the
luxury
upscale.
Camaro.
Absolutely, yep.
But these cars are expensive to restore, much more so than
Oh,
the Mustang.
yeah. Yep.
The parts just aren't out there.
Yeah, Survivor would be the way to go, that's for sure.
Especially with the 390 car. That's really cool.
Up front here, a couple of late models. You have a 2006 GT and then the 2020 GT. Probably the funnest car I've ever driven is the 2020. Just the horsepower, it gets to the road. You know, it doesn't get squirrely. They're cool cars.
Hey, the latest question or the latest trend I've seen is, in 10 years, are these going to be worth the same?
I don't know. These ones keep going up. I mean, I keep thinking I'm going to jump in, and then
They just keep on going?
They just keep going. But then those were doubled right out of the box. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
That will be interesting in 10 years.
Judge is another car I got from Colin Comer. The story on it is it's actually Survivor paint, but they just detailed the heck out of it. I think it says somewhere how many hours they had in just detailing it and then fluffing it. But it's, I mean, those are pretty. So the other room over here then is more of our work area. And this is one of our next ventures that we're looking at getting into. We want to, we've got 3 of these now. And so we're going to go racing in Baja next year. We put Shelby and Brady's name on there, trying to convince those guys to get interested in the project. So I sent them pictures of that. So we'll actually, yeah, Liberty Firearms. We'll try to get some advertisement for those guys on kind of a national scale. But what's neat about this, when we took they come all white, or however you order them, but this one came all white, and then we wrapped it to make it look like strop. You know, Ford just came out with that new Bronco, and so, you know, we have this tribute to Rod Hall, which is Shelby Hall's grandpa, and then Willie Strop, which is the son to Bill Strop. And so it's kind of a memorial to those guys. But what's neat about this is actually a 4-door Raptor. When you take all that fiberglass off, there's another door frame right back here. And that's what they're actually racing, the Bronco Raptor, Ford Bronco Raptor. And then Multimatic is putting their suspension on it, and then all the upgrades on it. But what's neat about it is they're putting the Coyote engine in it then. You know, and so no Bronco now has the V8, and so this shows it will fit in there.
Well, this has got to be, in my mind, it's already gone past running around in the street for fun.
But they're not street legal, and you got to climb through the window. That's the reason I think these haven't done very well anytime one goes to auction. You know, and then you could actually, you know, order whatever accessories you want on them.
Do you need a driver?
I was about to say.
You might, yeah.
God, that is a massive undertaking. Holy moly. Wow.
So it's going to be kind of fun to play with it, to see how it all works out. You know, right now there is one other team that's racing it. They only made 50 of these. And so we have 2 of them looking like this, and the third one, it just came under market at the last auction, and so we bought it for spare parts.
So somebody's already run this on Baja?
No. Well, they have the other one. Yeah, the Ford Performance has a team going now. Brad Levitt, and so he's racing one now. And then to pull it around, you have to have something a little bit wild. So that's another company here in Colorado makes this elevation off-grid. They take a 550, take all the suspension out from underneath it, and it's all liquid suspension.
Oh, nice.
And then they make their own bed too. So which is kind of neat about this is you, we'll start this up.
Well, this is all you, Sean.
I know.
That's why I got the creeper over there. I figured you'd want to get underneath it to look at that suspension.
I do.
That's awesome.
And then you tell it what, if you want comfort or, you know, what you want as far as the ride.
Well, military tires, man.
So have you found any more Strop Baja Broncos since we were here last time? I think it's been about a year.
This one and that one. Yeah.
So you found 2 more? Wow. Well, tell us about them real quick. I gotta know.
This one is just a really nice Survivor. Guy out in California had it. Tried to put it on a bring a trailer and they wouldn't let him use the word maybe Survivor or original. So then he put it on eBay and it didn't sell. Then I heard about it. And so I called him and we was able to make a trade on it. So it's a really nice Survivor. I don't know if I remember the miles on it.
These are so cool.
But it's a 73.
62.
We already had a pretty nice 73, but when the right one comes along.
Rotating.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. Well, if you can buy it for under what it costs to restore one, you certainly got to think about it.
Yep.
I think you almost have a Survivor and a restored one
Of all of them
for
now.
most all
Yep.
years, yeah.
So this is that's actually a Denver Bronco up there now, but that's a Ranger where it had to hire the nicer options on it. Mm-hmm. Our other one is just a stock.
So that has a blue interior.
Yeah, that's neat on the blue interior.
Yeah.
That has blue interior?
Yeah, just came available a while back and I missed it, but there was somebody had an interior, a really nice interior they took out.
Oh,
And
wow.
I missed that one. So this is that frame I'm talking to you about, and so I had to hoist, but then I was running out of space, and so what it is, you just have some 6-inch beam, 12-inch beam, and some 4-inch beam to make you a ledge here, and then you drive it up, and then drive onto it. And so in Gary's shop, we made this to hold, what do you get on yours?
4 cars.
4 cars on the second level?
And so it has a, Wayne explained to me in the middle of it, so 2 cars end to end. He said, you had said it, you put a post in the middle, but it wouldn't have needed it.
Right,
For
but
the
I mean,
weight,
yeah.
but for an inspector, someone might come in and think that looked, but it's,
But in this one here, I had to make sure I get my big,
looks like
water
oak
cooler
tree.
underneath it, and so we went higher, but then we ramped down here to get on here. So I mean, it really wouldn't be good for a muscle car. You want to keep them the same height, but I always knew I'm going to have something where I could always jump up that little bit of difference. But anybody that's running out of space, this could have been twice as long. You know, I could have moved all this back, which I had in one of the sketches. But
That's cool.
something to think about.
Thinking about that in the width.
Wow.
The house.
Heather, you getting tired of us yet?
Amazing.
See her going around taking all our fingerprints off.
Yeah, I did see. Well, I think you guys know as much as I do now about our collection.
And yes, it's a 4-speed for those inquiring minds. I had to look. Amazing. Wade, thanks for your time.
You bet.
No correction.
No, I was
Thanks for your time.
fun trip. I'm glad you guys came up.
thank you.
I've seen quite a bit of your work and it is amazing. Greatly appreciated.
You bet, guys.
Wow.
Nice meeting you guys.
How's that for a great day to be alive?
That's awesome.
All right. Let's get back on the jet and go to work.
No.
All right, guys. We had lunch. We didn't have dinner for segment 2. Now we're on our way home. So for those viewers out there wondering what Mr. Schmeeckle does, because obviously he's very successful, very smart guy. He makes manufacturing plans for beef, pork, and dairy. This is one of the plants that he made for Snake River Farms. It's supposed to be some of the best beef jerky in the world, American Wagyu beef jerky. These guys haven't tried it yet, but I've been over here snacking on it. It is absolutely, it's amazing. It's crazy tender, a little spicy. What do you think?
Delicious. Doesn't taste like jerky to me.
Outstanding.
It's not only the best bite, it's the only bite.
Very good.
This is worth a try. What do you think, Alex? See you next week.
As always, please
Like, tag, share, and follow. And most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next week.